Hi, this is Cheryl Gallant, your Conservative Member of Parliament for the practical riding of Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke. Last November, the Liberals introduced 2 amendments to their handgun ban. The amendments would have banned thousands of firearms used for hunting. First, the Liberals lied and said they were not banning hunting rifles. Then they accused anyone who said they were banning hunting rifles of spreading misinformation, except they were banning hunting rifles. Unlike the Liberals, the NDP actually do represent some rural ridings, so the NDP said they could not support the amendments. The Liberals ordered a temporary retreat. The problem for the Liberals was that they promised radical anti-firearm activists they would ban hunting rifles. A bill to be passed into law requires public debate. Debating their hunting rifle ban in public gave time for hunters to learn what was going on. Hunters quickly organized themselves and let their elected MPs know they were against the proposed law. That's why on Monday, the Liberals began to shut down all debate on their gun ban bill. Now their plan is to ban all new semi-automatic rifles under the law. For all existing rifles, they plan to create a secret committee of radical anti-firearm activists to do the banning for them. Ever since Trudeau said he admired the communists who control China, we suspected he might not be a fan of democracy. When he assaulted 2 members of Parliament on the floor of the House of Commons, we knew for certain he held democracy in contempt. When the pandemic hit, Trudeau shut down Parliament and tried to rule as a dictator for 2 years. Now the Liberals are trying to seize the property of millions of Canadians without even knowing about it. They want to give unelected anti-firearm activists who know nothing about firearms the power to decide the order in which all firearms will be banned. Every lawful firearm owner, every hunter, and every sports shooter now has a bullseye on their backs. Even if you don't own a firearm, you should be very concerned over what Trudeau's banning next. Recently, the legacy media has been pushing a new panic button called ghost guns. It was obvious the Liberals and their media allies were trying to drum up fear by calling hunting rifles assault style, but calling 3D printed firearms ghost guns is fear-mongering on crack. Behind every Liberal invented social media panic is something much darker. Just as the Liberals and their media allies have created panic over misinformation to justify their censorship, they are sowing fear with a new victim in mind: knowledge. The Liberals want to make the possession of information a crime. The Liberals are making it a criminal offense to possess the electronic files used to print a 3D firearm. We're not talking about state secrets or confidential information. This is freely available information. There are files that anyone with a 3D modeling software can create entirely on their own. Banning information, banning the possession of data files is what communist dictators do. It's what tyrants do because they're afraid of the people. The tyrant's playbook is simple. First, they spread fear through lies and propaganda. Then they promise to solve the source of the fear they sowed. Finally, they use that as a pretext to grab more power and control over the people. Now, this is not supposed to work in a free and democratic society, but the Liberals have a plan for that too. The Liberals had their policy convention over the weekend, and some of the legacy media worked hard to keep what really happened concealed from Canadians. The illiberal party passed a motion requiring online information sources to be verified by the government. Basically, if the Globe and Mail wants to publish a story based on unnamed sources in CSIS, the Globe and Mail will have to provide the Liberals' Ministry of Truth with the identity of the leaker. This would mean the death of freedom of the press in Canada. Now the Liberals are trying to backtrack. They claim this isn't about targeting the legacy media. This is about targeting regular Canadians who post on social media. Liberals want to make it illegally to post anonymously. This is what happens when the Liberals drink their own Kool-Aid. The Liberals started a social panic over misinformation, and now the Liberal Party base wants to ban whistleblowers. The Liberals have convinced themselves every person who disagrees with them is a Russian bot. As we've mentioned before, a recent scientific study demonstrated that the more a person is concerned with misinformation, the more likely they are to think their own fellow citizens are gullible. Liberals think people who are not liberals are stupid, and it's the burden of liberals to educate those they see as holding unacceptable views. Unlike liberals, conservatives trust their fellow citizens. We believe you'll do what's right for you and your family. Speaking of liberal censorship, Bill C-11, the Online Streaming Censorship Act, received royal assent and is now the law in Canada. The ink had barely dried on the new law before radical activists asked the CRTC to ban Fox News in Canada. Now, the CRTC is holding public consultations on whether or not Fox News should be banned. If you would like to submit a comment to the CRTC, I put a link in the description. But before you submit, please read the privacy statement carefully. Any information you provide, including your name, email, and home address, will be posted on the CRTC website. Also, please note that the form provided by the CRTC has pre-checked the box indicating you support censoring Fox News. Speaking of public consultations, the Bank of Canada is holding public consultations on the idea of a Canadian central bank digital currency. The bank claims it's just studying the idea, but they also claim they need to be prepared in case Canadians begin using private or foreign currencies. That would undermine the Bank of Canada's monopoly over currency. Would a central bank digital currency make it easier for the Liberals to seize your property? I put the link to the bank's survey in the description, but I want to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Live from Ottawa, this is Cheryl Gallant.